Breaking news. The ceasefire with Iran ends tomorrow night. Will Iran talk or will bombs fall? And Japan takes up weapons. Greetings, humanity. Let's grok the news, starting with the most important story in the world today. Dateline Islamabad. The fragile ceasefire in the U.S.-Iran war faces a critical deadline tomorrow night, with Tehran rejecting any negotiations under threat and warning it is ready to play new battlefield cards while tensions simmer in the Strait of Hormuz. President Donald Trump has signaled that extending the truce is highly unlikely without a deal, as U.S. and Iranian delegations appear headed for talks mediated by Pakistan in Islamabad, though Iran's participation remains uncertain. Iran's top negotiator has flatly dismissed discussions amid ongoing pressure, including the recent U.S. seizure of an Iranian-flagged vessel by Marines from the USS Tripoli. Tehran claims that it will not join certain Pakistan peace efforts and has accused the U.S. of piracy and threats, while maintaining it has no plans to bend. Analysts warn that failure to reach an agreement could see fighting resume quickly, with potential impacts on global energy supplies and shipping through the vital Strait of Hormuz. This marks day 53 of the conflict, which has already strained international relations and raised fears of broader regional instability. Pakistan is positioning itself as a peacemaker, with reports of initial delegations arriving. Vice President J.D. Vance is expected to travel as part of the U.S. effort. Trump has previously defended strong measures, including threats related to Iranian infrastructure, while emphasizing that any final deal must be far better than the previous pacts. On the ground, the war has disrupted lives across the region, with reports of crackdowns inside Iran and humanitarian concerns. Markets have shown volatility tied to the uncertainty, though some oil prices dipped slightly today on lingering hopes for de-escalation. European leaders and others who have hollowed out their national energy security in favor of green Marxism have expressed worries about fuel shortages if the situation worsens. The coming hours in Islamabad could prove decisive. Both sides continue exchanging warnings as the Wednesday night deadline looms. Diplomatic sources describe the atmosphere as tense, with slim chances of a breakthrough unless one side shows flexibility. The world watches closely as any resumptions of hostilities risks wider economic and security consequences. I'm Robert Gardner, using GROK each weekday to truthfully summarize the news, well seasoned with my opinions. We offer a roundup of the most critical reports in the world right after this. M.S. Gardner, my wife, is author of last year's Moon Meridian Prize winner from April Gloaming Publishing, Wolf's Bane, a dark, serious, modern take on an old fairy tale. I promise you've never heard Little Red Riding Hood told like this. Wolf's Bane, available now at thecuriousauthor.com. All one word, thecuriousauthor.com. Also available on Amazon. Now, we grok the headlines from around the world. Dateline Cupertino, California. Apple has announced that CEO Tim Cook will step down after 15 years in the role, transitioning to executive chairman of the board, with senior vice president of hardware engineering John Ternus set to become the new chief executive officer effective September. The move follows a long-planned succession process as the company, whose market value has soared under Cook, prepares for its next chapter of innovation. Dateline Washington, D.C. Labor Secretary Lori Chavez-DeRemer is resigning from the Trump administration amid an ongoing investigation into alleged misconduct, making her the latest high-profile cabinet departure. White House officials say she will take a private sector position, with Deputy Secretary Keith Sonderling acting as secretary. Dateline Tokyo. Japan has approved its biggest overhaul of defense export rules in decades, scrapping long-standing restrictions that limited most military exports to non-lethal equipment and opening the door to sales of warships, missiles, and other lethal weapons on a case-by-case basis, while maintaining core screening principles. This change marks a significant shift from the country's post-World War II pacifist policy. Dateline Mexico City. A gunman opened fire on tourists at Mexico's ancient pyramids north of the capital, killing one Canadian woman and injuring at least 6 others before taking his own life. Mexican authorities and Canada's foreign minister have condemned the attack at the popular pre-Aztec archaeological site. Dateline Los Angeles. U.S. singer David, spelled with a 4 instead of an A, his real name is David Burke, well, he has pled not guilty to first-degree murder and additional charges in the death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, whose dismembered and decomposed body was found in the trunk of his Tesla last September. Prosecutors have described the case as brutal and horrific, with a preliminary hearing set soon. Dateline Shreveport, Louisiana. Police in Louisiana are searching for a motive after a man allegedly shot and killed 7 of his own children and an 8th in a domestic violence incident. The tragedy has shaken the local community, including a preschool classroom connected to the victims, as instigators piece together a timeline for the massacre. Dateline Virginia. Voters in Virginia are heading to the polls today to decide on a redistricting plan that could significantly impact control of up to 4 U.S. House seats, with the outcome potentially boosting Democratic chances in the state's congressional delegation ahead of future elections. Dateline Washington, D.C. Trump's nominee for Federal Reserve Chair, Kevin Warsh, is testifying before Congress as part of the confirmation process, coming amid broader security of the central bank and its leadership under the current administration. Dateline Beijing. A humanoid robot has set a new benchmark by winning a half marathon in Beijing, outperforming human runners and showcasing rapid advances in Chinese robotics technology designed to demonstrate engineering leaps in artificial intelligence and mobility. Just think about that combination. Dateline. The oceans of the globe, the 7 seas. Scientists are observing humpback whales forming unusually large superpods in various seas, a social behavior that may reflect recovering populations and changing ocean conditions as researchers continue to study the marine mammal's amazing dynamics. And that's the news today. I thank you for listening. Please join me tomorrow to once again GROK the News. I'm Robert Gardner. Godspeed and God bless.